Hello, welcome back to another episode of Wealth with Joanne. I am your host, Joanne. I'm so happy to be here. And let's get straight into this week's pod. Actually, first of all, let me know. I had a couple of people speak to me about last week's podcast. David Icke, I know it was a big one. It was also way longer than I expected. Once I started editing, I was like, oh my God, I've gone on for a bit here. But let me know. Go back and listen to it if you haven't listened. And yeah, then come back to this one. So this week, I'm not diving as deep. We're not going into a big book this week talking about simulation theory and reptilians. We're keeping it real this week. And I just want to talk about 10 tiny habits that tell your nervous system you're safe. So I know I've spoken a lot about nervous system over the past few weeks, but I think it is very relevant because there's a lot going on in the world. So I wanted to make this week's a little bit more of a practical podcast, just 10 things that you can do every single day when you need to help your nervous system feel calm, to help you feel calm. And I think I was inspired by this because I see online a lot of these big routines, morning routines, doing this 10,000 steps, and not physical steps, I mean 10,000 steps, things to do that's going to help you. And when I'm watching them, like, you don't need to do all of that. And I'm guilty of doing all of the things. I used to have a million things that I would do every single day thinking, okay, this is going to help, when in the long run, and I think I've spoken about this before, it actually made me feel worse because it was more of a chore than something that I enjoyed doing, and then my nervous system would be off because I missed doing the things. So you don't need to have a full routine to feel calm. But to counter that, your nervous system does need routine. It does respond well to small, repeated signals. So you don't need to make all these big promises. I'm going to meditate for 30 minutes every single day at this time. I'm going to do X, Y, and Z at this time. I've got all of these things I'm going to do, because that's what I did. I had a huge list of things that was just too much. But what I did learn, and what I've picked up over the past few years, is that our nervous system does respond better to small, repeated things that make us feel good. And this is micro habits. This is these little tiny things that we can do throughout the day. It doesn't need to be huge. And these equal safety cues. So micro habits, what I'm going to talk about today, these tiny habits, are all safety cues. They're just saying to your nervous system, yeah, I'm still safe, it's okay. And like I spoke about a couple of weeks ago when I was talking about our nervous system's job is actually keeping us safe. And I did cover that the nervous system is constantly scanning for safety or threat. And that's okay. We want it to do that. I think I used the analogy in the last, I think it might have been 2 or 3 weeks ago, this podcast. But if we were sitting around a campfire, we want our nervous system to be switched on. If we were 1,000 years ago, this analogy is as well. So we want our nervous system to be aware of things that possibly could go wrong. If there's a pack of wolves coming towards us, we don't want to be too switched off where we don't notice the dangers. And when we don't notice the dangers, we're not ready to be able to successfully react to the dangers. So we want our nervous system to do this. We want our nervous system to scan for threats. But what we also want to allow ourselves to do is let our nervous system know when we are safe. So the nervous system isn't logical, it's pattern-based. And this is why repetition wires safety. It's all about neuroplasticity. So we are able to change the way that our mind works through using repetition. So when we have these small habits and we do them daily, we can then rewire our brain, our neuroplasticity we rewire through neural plasticity. God, it's such a big word. I really have to get my mouth around that we're safe. So for example, if you, like me, have been anxious in the past, we have these certain routines or certain things that make us feel anxious, or certain triggers. moving forward, then what happens is they are always there. So we notice these things and then we're telling ourselves, I'm not safe, I'm not safe, I'm not safe. So what we can do is rewire that by repeating these micro habits, these small things that tell us that we are safe. So for example, I used to be a very, very nervous passenger. If I was in a car, I would try to avoid as much as I could being a passenger in someone else's car. I would do all the driving. I would always be the designated driver. And obviously that can't happen all of the time. And I had to rewire my brain and do certain things when I was a passenger in a car to make sure that I was telling my nervous system it was safe. So this is where retraining comes in. This is our neuroplasticity. We can change the way that we feel and the way that we look at the world. It's not set in stone. And research shows that repeated small behaviors are more likely to stick than large, big habits. So again, going back to my old routines, there were so many big things that I would put in there. Journal every day, pull a card every day, meditate every day, 30 minutes exercise every day, yoga every day. So I would have all of these things, as well as the other things we do to keep ourselves healthy, drinking water, eating. So there were so many things on my list, and it was just so overwhelming that then it became like, oh God, I've got to do this now. And it wasn't making me feel any better. So I replaced a lot of those big behaviors for small ones. And it only takes a few minutes of regulation to actually shift our autonomic nervous system state. So we don't need a big 30-minute routine, because 2 or 3 minutes can be long enough. That could be 2 or 3 minutes in the shower in the morning that you put on a guided meditation. So you do it while you're in the shower instead of making yourself do a 30-minute meditation, for example. Now, of course, I'm all for 30-minute meditations. I do them when I can, but that is more of when I have time now rather than forcing myself, because again, it became that, oh my God, I've got to do this. And then I couldn't relax because it wasn't serving my nervous system. So what I'm going to do is go through 10 micro habits, spend a little bit of time with each one, why they work, what's going on, the science behind it. And I've picked out micro habits where you don't need money, you don't need to leave the house. All of these things are just things that you can do without having any extra things to add into your day. First one, and this is one that I've been championing for a while now. I'm going to hold my hands up and say that over the past, since all of this missile business has been happening in Dubai, I have broken this a little. I'll explain why once I get into it. But again, this is where supporting your nervous system comes in and not forcing. So the first one is morning sunlight before your phone. Go outside. Look at natural light within 30 to 60 minutes of waking up. So when you wake up, head outside, have your coffee, stand outside for 5 minutes with your coffee, go for a walk, open the curtains, stick your head out of the window, whatever you need to do to have a look at the morning sunlight. Now, doing this before your phone so that you're not, imagine you waking up and when you check your phone first thing in the morning, I always imagine, I think I saw it on a reel on Instagram, there was like everyone standing at your door. So if you're checking your WhatsApps, imagine all of those people just stood at your bedroom door, and you open the bedroom door and everyone stood there, or your Instagram or whatever it is that you're checking. Now, since this missile business has been happening, I have been checking my phone just to make sure before I go outside that there's not been an alert. So my phone charges in a separate room. So I put it away a few hours before I go to bed, so I'm not looking at it before bed. And in the morning before this, I didn't need to look at it because I just grab the dog's lead, take the dogs for a walk, and get myself in the sun. So I'm out there within 5 to 10 minutes of waking up. But now I'm just having to check my phone just to make sure we don't have a stay-in alert. So, and I will also have a quick scan through just one WhatsApp group just to make sure nothing's happened in the night. And I suppose that's just I don't want to be heading outside when there's an alert and there's, noises possibly in the sky. So I'm just being honest there that that's what I'm having to do right now. But I am then just putting my phone straight down. I'm not checking anything else and I'm getting straight outside. So why do we need to do this? And again, you might not have a dog, so you might just flick your kettle on and go stand out. Even if it's raining, you're still getting that morning light. It's not about standing in the sun and not talking about getting vitamin D. What we're actually doing here is setting your circadian rhythm and your cortisol rhythm. So when we get our morning light, it actually improves sleep and mood regulation. So we're seeing the light in the morning, we're calmly entering the day. It can increase your serotonin production and it supports calm and focus. So this one is very easy. You only need a couple of minutes. Everyone has a cup of tea in the morning or a cup of coffee in the morning. Get yourself outside within the first 30 to 60 minutes. Have a few sips, 5 minutes, stand outside. Open the window if it's raining. You don't need to physically go outside. Walk your dog before you get your phone. Get into that habit of just throwing some clothes on, going outside and doing these things before anything else. And you will start to notice the difference. I really do with this one. And at the weekend, I sometimes don't touch my phone for hours as well. It really does help to break that habit of needing to touch your phone. Again, this is before I have to check just to make sure we don't have an alert, but it breaks that habit and you're like, oh, I haven't checked my phone yet today. Second one, and I've spoke about this in the podcast where, was it 2 or 3 weeks ago, just talking about things, keeping your nervous system calm in this chaotic world. Longer exhales than inhales. Again, you can do this one in the car. For example, inhale 4, exhale 6. In yoga, we inhale 5, exhale 6, or whatever's more comfortable for you. The longer exhale activates your parasympathetic nervous system. So we'll do one now. Inhale for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 6, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So what we're doing there, slow breathing reduces anxiety by 40% in those intense moments. Longer exhales directly stimulate the vagus nerve. This one you can do anywhere at any time. I do a lot of breath work like this in the car because you're just on your own. You can focus on breathing as you're listening to a podcast or put some meditation music on so you're super calm. I also do a lot of this when I'm in bed. So I'll put my Kindle away, finish reading, and I'll just breathe until I fall to sleep. Of course, we all just breathe until we fall asleep, but I intentionally lengthen the exhales. This is my go-to as well if I do wake up and I'm a little bit anxious in the night. Especially again with everything that's going on at the moment, I am finding that I'm waking up in the night and I'm like listening outside to make sure I can't hear anything. So it's spiking anxiety a little in the night, so I come straight into my breath. Number 3, eat without your phone, even if it's just one meal a day, your breakfast. So if we're sticking to not checking your phone in the mornings, this one's really easy. So your body, when you're eating, if you're on your phone and you're taking in all of that information, I think maybe reading, maybe just trying to focus on your food, going back to intuitive eating. When we focus on what we're eating, we digest it better. So when we also don't eat as much because we're focused on what we're eating. When we're doing other things when we're eating, we're not intentionally and mindfully eating. So you're just sticking the food in your mouth anyway, and then you might end up overeating because your brain and your body connection is not there. So you're focused on whatever it is that you're watching, whether it's on your phone or on the TV, and you're not really paying attention to what's going on. So when we pay full focus to what is going on, pay full focus to eating our food, we are then telling our body, again, we're safe and it's rest and digest. We want our body to digest our food properly. Distracted eating is linked to higher cortisol and poorer digestion. So try it for your breakfast. That's the one for me. I try and not have my phone with any meal, but I do sometimes have the TV on in the background. So for me, it's definitely my breakfast where I don't have anything and I just eat my breakfast. Chat to the dogs, not really, looking outside in the window as much as you can, using the morning. For me, it's easy in the morning. You might be different. You might have kids, so it's not as easy to sit quietly. The TV might be on, you might have lots of noise. So maybe later in the day or your lunch at work, can you turn everything off and just eat your lunch at work? That sounds like a dream, I know, for some of you, especially being a school teacher. I know that's very hard, but try and give yourself that time to eat without going on your phone or having any other stimulation. Number 4, this one's nice and short. Hand on heart body check-in. Do it with me now. Put your left hand on your heart. We're going to stay with your hand on your heart for 10 to 20 seconds. Feel your heartbeat. Can you feel the rhythm of your heart? Maybe taking a slow breath while you're here. And what we're doing here is creating interoception. This is your awareness of your internal state. This is checking in with yourself. Physical touch, even self-touch, reduces cortisol and lowers heart rate. So taking 10 to 20 seconds, we've all got 10 to 20 seconds throughout the day just to put our hands on our hearts, close your eyes, feel your heartbeat. I'm doing it right now. You can probably tell I'm even slowing down talking. You're reducing cortisol. You're lowering your heart rate. You're telling your nervous system, it's okay. This is everything that we're talking about today. We're connecting to our nervous system. We're telling our nervous system, it's okay. You're safe. Number 5. I think I've spoken about this one before, maybe just on social media, but walking without any stimulation. No podcast, no music. When I go for a walk, I go for a walk. I don't take my headphones. I'm just listening to the birds. And again, I find that for me, when I do this, I'm very more aware. I'm in the moment, because when I used to walk and put my headphones in, I would be walking, think, God, how did I get here? The same as sometimes when we're driving, we're not aware and we get somewhere and we're like, oh my God, I did not pay any attention. How have I got to this point here? So when we do this, again, it's reducing our cognitive load. So when I listen to a lot of podcasts, but I know sometimes when I listen to a podcast, I'm taking in the information, and depending on the subject of the podcast, is that making me feel a certain way? Is it making me angry? Am I then thinking like, oh my God, I need to change X, Y, Z, or I need to do this? And when you go without that, you're able to clear your mind. You're able to be with your own thoughts. You're able to breathe. You're able to take in the nature. Walking in silence is actually being shown to lower rumination and anxiety, because we've got that time then to think about things and take time to just put things into perspective. Walk without your headphones. Let me know if you do it, and I want to know. I want to know if it makes you feel better. Another one that I did talk about in the last nervous system podcast was naming what you feel. So I feel anxious, I feel overwhelmed, I feel stressed, I feel worried. Because when we do this, it engages our prefrontal cortex, and it's helping us then to reduce emotional intensity. Because when we just have that feeling and we're just going through the motions, I feel like we can kind of be pushing it to one side. When we just tell us, right, I'm a little bit anxious today, we can reduce amygdala activity by 30 to 40%, because we're actually allowing ourselves to feel it instead of just carrying on and trying not to feel it. Hopefully that makes sense. So when we're just like, yeah, I feel anxious. It's the same as when we ask kids, like, are you tired? And like, yeah, then we know they're tired and we know that they need a nap. It's exactly the same. Naming what you feel. Number 7, shake out tension. This is a fun one. 30 to 60 seconds of shaking your arms and legs. Shut the door, maybe put on your favorite song, jump around, shake. This completes stress cycles. If you've got a dog, I think cats might do it as well, but obviously I've got dogs. You'll know when dogs randomly just shake, they're shaking off their tension, they're shaking off their anxiety. Stress is physiological, so we hold stress in the body. This is why yoga is so amazing as well, because movement helps to discharge that pent-up energy, that stagnant energy. Movement helps to discharge any adrenaline that we're holding on to. Shake it off, move. 30 to 60 seconds, that's all it takes. Just jump up and down, shake your arms and legs, shake your head, close your eyes, and then you'll feel better. It feels amazing after. We do a lot of shaking in Sanctum, actually, just to let it go. And as I'm guiding Sanctum, we do the whole class. So I always feel so amazing after Sanctum, even though I've been teaching it. I definitely also get the benefits because I'm shaking with you, I'm moving with you, I'm sweating with you, I'm getting all of that stagnant energy out. Number 8, another one that I've been championing for a while. Your first glass of water every single day, drink it slowly and be present. Hydrating with intention. So even mild hydration can increase cortisol levels. I'm currently on a bit of a remember to drink water. I used to be really good, and for some reason over the past few months, I feel like I've dropped off a little and I'm not drinking as much. So yesterday I had a full hydrate with intention day. Today I'm only on my first one. I'm drinking, my bottle at the moment is 500 ml. So I'm going for 5 or 6 of these a day. I'm on my second because I had my first one. But again, it's finding these habits in your routine. So what I do is, as I'm putting the dog's leads on, I'll put my cup under the water machine, fill the cup, drink the water, walk the dogs. So in that initial 20 minutes of waking up, I'm getting into the morning light, I'm drinking my water, I'm going for a walk without any stimulation other than the dogs. So all of these things I'm putting in my morning, that might not work for you. You might want to spread these out throughout your day. It might be that your evening walk, you go for a walk in the evening without any stimulation, and that helps you to clear your head from the day. And these things as well, they're micro habits, they're small things. They take time to build in. You might go for your first, just going back to our walk, you might go for your first walk and be really bored and think, oh God, you need to get used to not having that stimulation. You need to remember in the morning to hydrate with intention. So when you put the kettle on, fill your glass of water up and get into that habit of drinking the water first. But I'm not talking about just necking it back. I'm talking about slow, present. And I like to visualize when I'm doing things like this, the effect it's having on my body. And I'll take a moment of gratitude as well. So as I'm sipping, I'm hydrating and I'm thinking about the fact that I'm rehydrating my body, I'm helping my skin, I'm giving myself energy. So just really being intentional behind that. Number 9, reduce caffeine after midday. Now, I think I've spoken about it. I've not drank caffeine for a very long time, maybe coming up to a year now. I've not had coffee. I've gone to decaf. So this one for me has been a game changer because caffeine can mimic anxiety symptoms. So once I quit coffee and switched to decaf, I did start to notice a huge difference. Caffeine increases your cortisol and can stay in your system for 6 to 8 hours. So if you're having coffee or caffeine throughout the day, tea also has caffeine, you're keeping that cortisol level high. So then it might be that when you get to bedtime that you can't sleep because you've still got caffeine in your system. So if you're drinking coffee at 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon and you're going to bed at 9, you've still got that caffeine in your system and the increase of cortisol is still going to be in effect. So have your coffee in the morning and then switch to decaf throughout the day. Now I wasn't drinking coffee to get that energy kick. I drink it because I like it. I like the taste. So decaf was an easy switch for me. Warning though, the first couple of days of switching to decaf, I had a terrible headache. I had to drink so much water to try and shift my headache, and that was just the caffeine withdrawal. And I was only drinking one a day as well in the morning. So take your time when doing that. Be aware that you might get a headache if you do make the switch from decaf to, sorry, gosh, I keep saying it the wrong way around, from caffeine to decaf. Maybe have your caffeine in the morning and then switch to decaf throughout the day. You're not going to get the headache then because you're still having your caffeine in the morning, but you're then not loading your nervous system with caffeine for the rest of the day. Number 10. Now this links to something I said at the very start. Do nothing for 5 minutes. Sit. No input. No phone. Quiet. Not watching the TV. This teaches your nervous system that stillness is safe. And this is something important in this busy world, that sometimes I know a lot of people that can't relax, and I'm guilty of it. Some days I'm like, I need to do something, and it's not boredom, it's just my nervous system doesn't feel safe to calm down. So when we're in constant stimulation, this keeps the brain in a low level stress response. So it's attention. This comes from attention and dopamine research. So when we're constantly stimulated, we're in a low level stress response. This includes your phone. Your phone is a stimulation. Intentional rest improves emotional regulation and focus. So sit down for 5 minutes and don't do anything. Turn the TV off, put your phone away. You can do this in the morning when you're outside getting your morning light. Take your coffee. You can drink. It just means no stimulation. Drinking your drink in the morning is not going to be stimulating. Look around, and instead of watching your phone or the TV, look at the sky. Look at the birds, look at the trees, whatever you've got in your back garden or your backyard. Take that in, be quiet, take this time. If you've got kids, you might need to shut yourself outside, so, or you take this at nighttime when they've gone to bed. You find your way to build this micro habit. I'm just going to recap these 10 before we carry on, because I feel like I did them very quickly. So morning sunlight before your phone. Longer exhales and inhales. Eat without your phone. Hand on heart, body check-in. Walk without stimulation. Name what you feel. Shake out tension. Hydrate with intention. Reduce caffeine after midday. Do nothing for 5 minutes. I do most of those most days. I'm not going to say every day. I'm not perfect. But this is, when I was making this list, these are the ones that have helped me the most. And these are the ones that I can easily combine most days. And I think the real trick here is not trying to fix everything and letting yourself go back to basics. Because when we overload ourselves, we start to feel a little bit broken, there's too much going on. And if you're scrolling on social media, we see so many people with these perfect routines and things and diets, and that can also be a bit of an overload. So take it back to basics. You are not broken. You do not need fixing. These are all there to support your nervous system. Remember, your nervous system is doing its job. If you didn't listen to my podcast, that anxiety is a thing that we need to have. Your nervous system is doing its job. Remind yourself of that. Remind yourself that we need those things to happen to keep us safe, but we also then need to learn how to tell our nervous system that we are safe when we are safe. So we're not getting chased by saber-toothed tigers. Those emails we get from our bosses, we don't necessarily need that cortisol spike, that anxiety around it. Imagine now you've got this tool. Next time you get an email and you're like, oh my God, you can put your hand on your heart, listen to your heartbeat 10 to 20 seconds. You're calming your nervous system. Safety isn't something that you think your way into. It's something that we need to show our bodies. Now, what I'm going to say is try all 10, but you don't have to do all 10 in one day. Do one a day. Maybe then, or you might naturally go, oh my God, I've done that one today. Or I took my 5 minutes while I was outside in the sun. So this is not go and do all these 10 things every single day. This is, here's 10 things What can you do every day to make you feel good? Maybe you pick 3 of these because some of them don't fit, because I don't have kids. So when I'm sharing my routines and my things, I don't have to think about kids in the morning. I can just wake up and take my dogs for a walk because I don't have to see to kids and get them ready for school. I can not check my phone in the mornings because, well, my job doesn't need me to do that. I can wait a couple of hours and then check. What the most important thing for me is cover. And if I haven't checked my phone and I miss a cover, then that's my fault for, from in the studio. Clients don't contact me on my phone. They contact me on email, and they know my window. So I have all that set. So I know that's different for everybody. It's consistency that rewires your nervous system. So once you start these and then you build them in as habits, that is your consistency. That is when you're going to start to feel the benefits. So remember, your nervous system learns through repetition, environment, and your behaviors. So once we have these, we can scrap what we usually do, which is overthink and consume more information. This is all about telling your nervous system that it's safe, you're okay, there's no need for you to be in a spiral most of the time. Our ideal state is calm and relaxed. I want to hear from you if you try any of these. Let me know which one's your favorite. Let me know which one you're able to do, or ones you're able to do each day. Reach out to me if you have any questions. My email is joanne_wealth@gmail.com. Same on Instagram, Joanne_wealth. If you prefer just to drop me a DM on Instagram, let me know. And I will be here next week. I've got lots of ideas for a podcast next week. I'm going to take a break from the nervous system because I know I've done a few on the nervous system. I'm thinking to share a little bit, go back to intuitive eating and a little bit about diet and exercise and some of the things that I do. Again, easy fixes, easy things that you can slot in to support. If that sounds like something that you'd like me to dive deep into, also let me know if you have any questions about anything along those lines. And I've only gone 2 minutes over today with my 30-minute target. So thank you very much for listening. Don't forget to leave a comment, 5 stars if you think I deserve it. Head over to my YouTube, check out my latest vlog. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next week.